this video, I'm going to share with you the secret to having the best sex of your life, and this works both for casual hookups or long-term committed relationships. It works for everybody in any situation, whether you're a man or a woman. I've been doing this thing I am about to explain to you for years, honestly, with a lot of different women from many different countries, and it works so well that many women with whom I've had sex with, they already told me on our first time together something along the lines of, I felt so connected to you. This was not just sex, this was something more. This was passionate, this was love. I felt loved. Some other women have told me, you helped me rediscover sex. I thought I didn't enjoy it that much, but I actually do. I hadn't enjoyed sex or felt like this since I don't know how many years ago. And this was so great, I loved it. And some others were like, you awakened a sexual side of my personality that I had never seen before. Now I just feel like I want to do it again and again and again. Now, obviously, based on these reactions, I hope that you will understand that you need to use this secret I'm about to explain to you responsibly. With great power comes great responsibility. So be careful and mindful. This is like marketing and psychology. You can do a lot of harm with marketing, or you can do a lot of good with it. It's up to you based on how you use it and for what purpose. And with this secret is the exact same thing. You could do a lot of good and establish deep bonds with your existing partner, or just have great casual sex, or just have a great friends with benefits type of dynamic. Or on the flip side, you could do a lot of emotional damage, right? Like you could break a lot of hearts. So be a good human. That's all I'm saying. Now, the plan for this video. First, I will explain to you what people get wrong about sex, and also why techniques don't work. Because unless you don't understand this, nothing else is gonna make sense. Then after that, I will explain to you the secret. When not to use the secret. And lastly, understanding that you're not a sex machine. Very important point to close this off that you must understand. So what people get wrong about sex is that they think it's just about rubbing meat with someone, about penetration. They basically treat sex as masturbation with extra steps. Yes, that is one aspect of sex. That's how it happens. On the surface, it might seem that's all what sex is about, but you're missing the full picture here. This is only half of the equation. But when you just treat it that way, as if rubbing meat together is the sole thing, that's when people eventually become unsatisfied with sex and they have unfulfilling sex lives. And this leads, for example, long-term relationships to become stale, and they go to therapy because sex isn't great and things are not working. It doesn't feel like it used to. Or also, that's when you have a casual hookup, and after you finish, you just look at yourself disgusted and you wonder like, what the hell did I just do? Why did I have sex with this random person? And you think to yourself that you shouldn't have wasted your time, you should have done something else instead. I should have stayed home and read a book. And when people find themselves in these situations, two things can usually happen. The first one is that they just renounce sex and they basically give up on it. And this is way more common than you would think. Or the second thing that can happen is that they double down on it and they try to spice things up. Maybe they start researching how to be better at sex, new things that they can try, new positions, or they introduce toys or explore new kinks, or they introduce other people into the equation, whatever, like all sorts of things. And for sure, like some of these things might help. Learning new things is important and is a component of sex, as we were saying before. They might make your experience better, but the problem is that those new good experiences are going to be short-lived. Because basically what you're doing is you're just putting duct tape on a leaky boat. Yes, it's going to buy you some time, it will help you go further, but eventually the problem will resurface and you will sink into the same situation, especially after the excitement of that new thing goes away, which usually doesn't take that long. And that's why you see, for example, people that over time they keep getting more and more extreme with their kinks or their fantasies, because they always need a new thing to keep the whole thing afloat. But the problem is that a lot of the times these things can end up breaking relationships, and it can emotionally damage the individuals involved, because all of these solutions, they're external and there is not a solid foundation that supports them. You don't have that solid boat. And basically that's what the secret is. It's not something external, but it's that internal thing that's gonna bring it all together for you. So what is the secret? What I have done that has worked wonders for me and the women that I have been with is to focus on the mental aspect of it. If you want to have great, life-changing sex that feels fulfilling, you've got to go to a deeper layer than just the physical one. You have to move from the body to the brain, and then within the brain go beyond and find the you, the consciousness, the soul, the awareness, whatever you want to call it. When you're with someone, you have to deeply understand and you have to feel that behind those eyes, there's something that is conscious, alive, there is a soul. Which you might say like, duh, of course, but no, like if you just thought that it's obvious, that means that you actually don't understand it. You understand it intellectually, but not emotionally. Understanding this thing right here is like understanding death. Yeah, everybody knows that they're going to die. Just go outside and ask anybody. But how many people live as if they truly understand it? Not that many. You know, as Seneca the philosopher said, you are living as if destined to live forever. Your own frailty never occurs to you. So going back to sex, when you're with someone, you're not seeing just some pretty face and some beautiful eyes. That face, those eyes, is a portal into their soul, to that consciousness that is aware in the same way that you are. The way you feel conscious, they feel conscious. In some of my other videos, when I've talked about the deep states that you can reach with meditation, I did explain this difference between the brain and the you consciousness, and how to identify yourself beyond your body, beyond your brain, and beyond your thoughts, because you're not your thoughts. And I explain how you can single out this thing that we call awareness, which we can refer to as the Atman in Hinduism, which refers to the deepest inner self or soul that you are. And the Atman is also behind that other person's eyes. And that is what you truly have to tap into. And that's what you have to penetrate. It's not their body, it's their soul, their essence. And you have to establish a connection with that. Now, $1,000,000 question. How do you establish a connection with that thing? Well, the main way you do that is by first increasing your own consciousness and awareness. And how do you do that? In the same way you meditate. You stop your thoughts, you focus on that single point of awareness, the fact that you're a conscious being, and you embrace the present moment. Because the present moment is the only thing that exists. And you've got to do the exact same thing during sex. Most people, when they're having sex, they are completely disconnected. They're not really there. Especially men that often treat sex and women as if they're a machine. That you press this button and you pull this lever and you do this thing and then something happens. You get this result. A guy recently was asking me on advice for sex. And he was asking me about positions and what to do before and after and during and this thing and that thing. And I just told him, like, man, stop it. Like, are you even there when you're having sex? Are you enjoying it? Is she enjoying it? Like, this is not a video game that you have to beat to get like some high score or some business logistics problem that you have to solve. You're sharing a moment with a living human being, but all you can see is the most superficial level of it. Of course, you cannot figure out what to do. You gotta do what feels right, but the only way to do that is to establish that connection with the other person's awareness. But sadly, most people only establish a connection between their bodies. Now, this whole thing can get even crazier if you go down the path of Advaita Vedanta. And I'm not asking you to believe what I'm about to say right now, but if you understand that at the deepest level of ultimate reality, there is no separation. Everything is one and the same. And that the idea that we are separate individuals is an illusion. And you realize that when you're with someone and you look at their eyes and you're connecting with their consciousness, in reality, what you're connecting with is yourself. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at you. That's when it gets real trippy. Now, the $1,000,000,000 combination is if both of you understand this. That's when it's truly something. But hey, if this last part sounds like a stretch to you, I get it. You don't have to believe it, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. At least retain the first part I explained to you of connecting with the other person at a consciousness level. And if both you and your partner could understand that this should be the main focus in sex, that could truly change your life. Because over time, you'll be able to develop a level of intimacy and connection that you may have never experienced before with any other human being. I think women in general find it easier than men to understand these mystical and emotional things, both when it comes to understanding the importance of practicing this and also understanding the thing itself. So if you're a man and you're watching this and you understand it, it can be fairly easy to make the woman you're with go along with the flow and understand all of this and grasp what's happening at a deeper layer, because I think in general women are more in tune with their intuition and also their emotions. For men, I think it can be harder. I'm sure there's some guy watching this video right now thinking like, but bro, I always do this thing and they love it. It's very simple, bro. What are you yapping about? You're overcomplicating everything. Yes, but you're missing the whole point of the video. But I don't blame you. I guess it's both difficult to explain and to understand. It's kind of like meditation. The day you will stop having questions about meditation is the day you actually experience meditation for the first time in your life. But until that happens, it's gonna seem confusing. Now, when you focus on establishing this connection of awareness, consequentially, a few other good things will happen. Since you will be focusing on that consciousness, that life beyond those eyes, first of all, you will care way more deeply about that other person's pleasure. And instinctively and naturally, you will do a better job at having sex with them and making sure that they're having a great time. It's like, for example, people who are naturally great at giving a massage. That's because when they're giving a massage, they put themselves in the other person's shoes. They imagine what this person is feeling. And this allows them to know exactly what is it that they have to do to give a great massage. And it can be the exact same thing with sex, which you can easily achieve if you have this attitude and you have this approach that I'm describing right here. And the beauty of this approach is that what you might end up realizing is that one of the greatest pleasures in sex come from giving, not from receiving. And with this attitude, everything will work better, even in all areas of the relationship. Now, here's the thing though, as I said before, when should you not have this approach? When should you not use the secret? When should you purposely discard everything that I've just explained in this video so far and actually keep it superficial? Well, basically, if when you establish that deep connection with the other person, if doing so might hurt them. And this could happen for many different reasons. Maybe you establish a connection with someone that you actually don't like that much, or maybe this person is just going through a rough emotional period in their lives. So maybe they're more sensitive than usual or whatever it is. And the thing is that over time, the more you practice this and the more you're aware of this, you could get to a point that you get quite good at it. And maybe, as I was saying before, the first time you're with someone, already you can establish a deep connection with them. But as I just said, with some individuals, that might not be the best idea. So be very mindful, okay? And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the video right here. Sometimes you might consider not going all the way on purpose because maybe you know that it's not the right person and you want to respect their long-term well-being. And to know if it's the right person or not, which is something that I guess some of you might be wondering, you just have to follow your gut feeling and be really honest with yourself because deep down, you always know. Now, that being said, point number 5, sometimes it might naturally happen that you just don't do it because you just don't, regardless of whatever you want to do or not, because you're not a machine. And some days your awareness or consciousness might be lower than usual. Or maybe that day you just don't care, especially if you're a guy, because we men, when we have an opportunity for sex, most of the times we go for it, even if we don't feel like it. And in those situations, you might not be at your best. So it might just not happen. So don't beat yourself up for it. Again, as I was saying before, like this is not a video game, okay? Don't try to gamify this whole thing. Or maybe also some days you will not be as horny. And some other days, maybe you're a werewolf and you're like, super horny. So just know, like, sometimes it will naturally happen and other times it will naturally not happen. I don't do this every single time myself either. Some days I'm just not feeling it. I'm sure there's women I've been with that if they were to watch this video of me talking about how to have the greatest sex of your life, they would think like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I was with him and it wasn't that great. And that's my point. That's completely normal. You cannot always be at your best. But when you can, and that day comes, bring it on and apply all of the things that I explained in this video. Which, if you found helpful, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a comment, leave a like, all of that stuff. And on a similar topic, if you want to learn how to control your libido because it's distracting you a lot, watch this video right here that I recorded a while back. Click here. I'll see you there. Take care. Have a great life. Peace.